What's up, YouTube? It is Dundee TV, and in this video we're gonna be talking about maps, y'all. Really old maps. I try to go back as far as I can with what I got already saved. We're just gonna do a slideshow video and really just go into detail, quick yet detailed overviews about these old world maps and some things that I really want to talk about when they was finding the quote-unquote New World or the Americas. So we're going to get into maps around the 1500s, early 1500s, all the way up into the 1800s, and they going to jump around. So let's just get into it. So really what I want to get into is that maps tell a lot, and if you don't really see, I'm an artist, so I pay a lot of attention to detail, and on top of that, I do pay a lot of, it's like I always want to figure out why why someone did anything. So I look at certain things and I get a lot of questions pop up in my mind when I see a lot of things on these maps. So we're just gonna start off with one of the oldest maps. It shows you the solstice on the maps, the December solstice and the June solstice, which I thought was very interesting. And we're gonna get into a lot of that as we go through these maps, y'all. Now this map in particularly, it ain't that old. I believe this map is from the 1892. So this is relatively a new map, yet this map is not used, but this is the actual map we should be using when we want to talk about travel and stuff like that, like how to get to one place to another. This is the map you would use for international travel, technically, because this is how you get to one place to another via flight patterns. This is the map they use. Now we're gonna get into some stuff, y'all, and then they call this the new standard map of the world, y'all. So it makes sense. If you want to navigate to get around somewhere, this will be the standard map you would use to get around the damn planet. Now this is, they saying, now if you still want to believe the world is round, you can believe that, and if they shape the map like this to be a flat earth map, you can think that. Yeah, the things doesn't make sense when you curve this into a ball and you start wanting to maneuver, because you wouldn't do things on the ball that you would on the flat earth. But I'm not even going to get all into that. We are deliberately just finna talk about, just to get you guys in what page we really finna be on. I'm really finna be talking about the Holy Roman Catholic Empire, because these are the sources of the old maps. And we're going to talk about this guy real quick. And this was not his name. This was not his name. His name was Salvador Fernandez Zarco, aka Cristavo Coleon. But his real, and that was the sigla, his real name was Salvador Zarco Fernandez, bro. And he did not look like this at all. Bro was probably a handsome, dark-skinned man. This looked like some type of middle school lunch lady going through menopause. But yeah, bro, that's what we going on here. Gotta let y'all know this stuff. And then on top of that, this is a map letting y'all know that this whole area was controlled pretty much by the Holy Roman Empire. And I mean, everything around it is a subsidiary of that. So please do your research and know that this area, which is now called Germany, which was completely owned by the Holy Roman Empire in the 1413 prior. So and then it started forming subsidiaries and started breaking themselves down, and the power at B, it doesn't necessarily say, it says that Rome pretty much failed, but they didn't. They just pretty much blended in, and I'll be able to prove that over time. But this is a better look of the European, Holy Roman European Empire, Euro-Asia Peninsula over here. This is all the stuff that they pretty much conquered and controlled. And these are their estates. Everything that's in the color but it's all theirs. I think everything green is not. If I'm not mistaken, the green ain't theirs. The green, if it's got a coat of arms on it, is theirs. Right, as of this point on this at this time period. And I cannot, and oh yeah, a lot of these maps, y'all, they're written in Latin, not English. The time in the 1500s, nobody in any of these countries was using English. They were not using English in what's called, see, it's not even called England. Well, yeah, it is. England, they wasn't using English in England. Trust me, they weren't. They were speaking Latin or writing in Latin and other forms of Slavic languages. They were not using English. But we'll get into that later. Alright, so this is an American map. And I think this is probably around the 1700s, if I'm not mistaken. But the point I want to show you is on these maps is that a lot of areas, they so-called by these so-called Indians were inhabited cities. They were not barren. They did not live in tents. And I'm gonna prove that because they did point it out on these maps when they were finding certain territories. So this was the conceptualized Indians, and as you can see, they are woolly haired and dark skinned. And I got another picture of them too. But this is the Americas, right? This is the Americas. And as you notice, the Europeans are pale skinned, and they are bringing Christianity with them. This is AKA Christopher Columbus. This is what Christopher Columbus actually is. When I actually break down bro's name, and it pretty much means bearing Christ and coming to the colonies with Christianity or Roman Catholic, whatever. That's really what that means. So as you can see, the Indians are looking up to the figure that's got the cross in the so-called Bible. That's the whole point. And this is a conceptualized picture. These Indians did not necessarily completely look like this. Now this is the closest depiction you're gonna get to them, but they still didn't look like that. And what I mean look like that, I mean by complete dress. And these people here, they didn't look like that either. Complete dress and skin tone. Like it was different colors on different sides. You had light-skinned Indians, lighter tone Indians, and you definitely had dark-skinned Europeans. So mind you, conceptualism was all in history, and they conceptualized a lot of things by putting these so-called figures on forefront when Eurasia was actually inhabited by a lot of dark-skinned people. Hispana was mostly dark-skinned people, aka that's where you get Spanish people that were speaking Latin, aka Latinos. But we're gonna get into that. Alright, so this is the Knights of the Golden Circle, a book about the Civil War, and this whole area down here that we're gonna start seeing in the maps. You know, this is the 1800, you know, about the so-called Civil War, really were the Seminole Wars that just kept going on. And we're gonna look at these areas in older maps to show you that these so-called Indians were really African American people, or people that was already here, and mostly AKA African American people. Another old map showing you the Union coming down to the south, and the Confederate, what's this says? Yeah, the United American Confederate Republic. And that's what we were before a democracy. We were a republic, y'all. So, alright, so this is more, I ain't gonna say complete conceptualism, but this is the woolly haired Indians that lived in America. You see the red, white, and blue? Those were our colors. As you see the red, white, and blue on the Indian with the gold. This is America. These are so-called Indians that were here when the Europeans came. Now, the Europeans were not pale skinned when they came. They were also dark skinned as well. Majority of them were. And we were not outside dressed like complete. We did have clothes on too. We just didn't wear stuff like this, but these were our colors, most definitely indeed. Now we did have the feathers. Now this probably was a garment maybe used in some type of ceremony style, but this was not everyday attire. This is more artwork showing you the Americas. This is 1750. Showing you the so-called American Indians of all copper tone colors. Brass, bronze, and copper tone colors, because that's what color we are. We are not black. And as you can see, the tones, the copper tones of so-called super dark and lighter skin indigenous peoples of the Americas. But once again, this is still a slightly conceptualized. This is not complete imagery of what everything looked like, but they did come bearing Christ. That was the whole point of all this, y'all. I'm gonna prove it. These maps prove that they were literally bearing Christ. That's what Christopher Columbus means. I'm gonna get into that later. All right, so this is an old map of Mexico, y'all. Mexico was literally like in water, bro, which is amazing. And it looks like active volcanoes of some sort that's around the place or something. But this place is completely submerged in water. And most of the buildings are in water, except the center of the city. It's almost like Sicily or something. Like it's weird. And this is a real life setup of Mexico. And I think this is 1500-ish. This is around the 1500s. We'll find out in a second. But check this out, y'all. I just thought this was amazing to see Mexico like this. I thought this was very amazing. It blew my mind. But let's keep getting into it. Now, mind you, a lot of these maps, they, like I said, they are speaking Latin. So when they got here, they were speaking the language they were speaking. So it's Latin on a lot of these maps, y'all. It's this Latin language. You will see a lot of V's where it's supposed to be a U. You see, now, if you know Spanish, you can probably get a lot of stuff. I may be able to read some of this stuff, but Latin, I'm not sure how close Latin is to Spanish. I don't think it's that close, actually, but especially this Latin. So, mind you, I don't know nothing about it, so please get on my ass if I thought Spanish was close to Latin. So, but anyway, here you have the Americas, La Florida. Now, tell me where you see some tents at, y'all. This is a 1500 map of the Americas showing you Florida, really the whole area of Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, well, a little bit of I'll just say Georgia and Florida, and probably trace pieces of Texas and Arkansas, and maybe Tennessee. But this is what we're seeing is the ancient old cities of all of our cities that been here in America for, I don't know, hundreds, maybe thousands of years. These cities have always been here. You do not see tents. You do not see huts. They already documented that there were cities over here. And I'm not sure what language. Like I said, this could be Latin they're speaking. And they named these cities. These aren't the names we named. The indigenous people of Americas, they didn't name whatever they're marking this on these maps. We didn't name it that. So you have to understand that these maps are for them to go by, and they naming stuff what they want to name it. Now I think Florida was closer to that landmass name of what we called it. So I believe Florida is what we call that landmass on part in the Americas. I'm not completely sure. Certain names we did use, but I'm not sure what names that they came up with. Florida, I'm not sure, y'all. Y'all need to help me out. I'm trying to learn as well. I know certain things, but I don't know everything. I can combat and argue and debate with you on a few things, but you may be able to have me looking stupid on a few things. But y'all just have to help me out. That's why I'm putting this information out. Try to get a better understanding I'm a so-called African-American person, realizing that I'm maybe an actual indigenous person. So I'm really trying to figure out what's going on. So here, I believe this is more or less like the Texas area. And look at the documented places that they have already in the 1500s. Now, this is around the time Christopher Columbus came. Now, 1492 is when he came. This map was done in the around the 1500s. So they pretty much was exploring, literally figuring out the land, figuring out what's what. And they came bearing Christ. And I will prove it, y'all. Will prove it. So once again, La Florida, however they pronounced it back then. That's South America and Peru over there. And all of this, mind you, taken over by the Portuguese, aka Hispana, which they do have on the map and how they pronounce it. And they came bearing Christ. Now this weird cross they got with this weird dragon-like serpent wrapped around it. I'm finna show you a Latin map, but this was like the cover in the book. Y'all tell me what that means. Vincent. And then we got, the Carta Marina, and this is the dang map. All right, so this is South America and the Americas. And I believe this map is like 1400. And I'm going to show y'all some interesting things in this map. This is Mexico in water. And it says Nuvia Hispana. Nuva Eva. And you see the V's. So they was using Latin. So Hispana is what they named it when they got over there. New Hispana. Because it's that area they got first. La Florida. I'm not sure if they took that over yet, but as you can see, they pretty much had a good idea of what that land looked like. Let's get into this map. Y'all can see California over there kind of on itself. They say that is not Peru, that is actually California. We're gonna get into that as well. Now y'all see India literally right by the Americas, y'all. They got India real close, and China is also very close to the Americas, as it always been. How they got it presented on the map. Oops, my bad, y'all. Try to do that. Exit that pointer. I get it. Yeah, okay. All right, so Hispana, that's what they called it. No Portugal. There is no Portugal on there. And as you can see, it looks like it's something written on top of it, but it's upside down. Or to them, it could be right side up. No, it's upside down. But all of this is the Holy Roman Empire land that they own. Once again, as you can see, all of this stuff is in Latin. Nubia. And I think, as you can see, yeah. And pay attention. You see the globe circle, how they created the globe pretty much in the damn map based off the how they navigate the graphs and the lines. You can pretty much create a globe at any point. Truly, you can make a globe out of you can pretty much move this around wherever you want and make a globe. You can make a globe out of the Americas, South Americas, Africa. You can make a globe out of any place on earth with this formation of how they doing it. See, you see the geometry and how they were able to create that sphere. And this is the conceptualism. This is not the navigational map at this time. At this time, we are looking at the conceptualized form of the map. This is not necessarily how they use to navigate. At this point, this is conceptualism. This is what they wanted us to view the world as at this point. So I find it very interesting that they was doing it so long ago. And I believe this was late 1400s. So as you can see, the globe, they got the longitude and latitude lines creating the globe. Spanga was another version of Hispano or Spain. or La Nouva. I think this is a little bit more of a French version of the Latin. But once again, this is a Romance language on this map, y'all. That's Mexico in the water again. Still in water. And I want y'all to notice something. Y'all see the castle cities. Y'all see the cities in America. I want y'all to notice something on these maps. They mark these maps with iron crosses, aka X's. Now, as a kid, treasure maps used to have an X to mark the spot for the treasure. I thought that shit was very interesting because when I saw that iron cross, I thought it was an X. And I'm like, okay, they got treasure on the maps or something? Look at that, X, right? You see that X? Look like it say pride. Then like an X, but there's only one right here. You don't see any more. I mean, you see the castles, you see a few of the cities, and then you see that one little X. That X symbolizes something, and I start to kind of slowly figure that out. I think now y'all can be the judge as well, but this map here in particularly, I think, is also a late 1400s map, if I'm not mistaken. This is for sure a 1500s map here. Now, this is the Americas once again, showing you Florida and look at the castles. Look at Mexico. Look at how Mexico here is presented. All right, Mexico right here. You see, it's a full city. And this is the early 1500s, y'all. So how was they able to build Mexico up that fast, y'all? How was they able? Look at all these cities down here in Peru and in South America. Y'all see that? These are cities. Look how many of them. 1, 2, 3. You know what I'm saying? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These are cities, y'all, that are still here today. They were renamed, conquered, taken over, y'all. This is where the Aztecs were. So, and then there's another weird thing. You see these animals, you see these weird animals here. Weird animals. Then you see stuff that, like, you were familiar with. I'm pretty familiar with this. That look like a turtle up there. I don't know what that is for real, but I don't know. I'm gonna get into some more stuff that I found interesting. Like I said, plenty of cities in the Americas, and I mean cities, actual cities. This is the 1500s people. And look, you see the X's marked, those iron crosses. That's the Holy Roman Empire. That's the Holy Roman Empire y'all are seeing, that's marking lands that, or colonies, or whatever they got. And I'm thinking they're colonies. But you see these X's marked in random places along the cities that, well, close, nearby cities, but as you can see, they kind of by themselves in these long spots. So they not in the cities. So they marking these areas and letting you know, or they're letting their people know where they at. Now that map particularly was 15 what? This was a 1503 map, y'all. So in early 1500s, they were putting themselves in position, marking themselves.